Good morning and welcome to another episode of Alberta Prepper. I'm your host. I'm glad to be here and I'm glad that you've joined me. If you're interested in seeing more, I hope that you subscribe, like, and share this video to your friends and family. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of a story of my life in the past when I was younger. Grade 2, that was 1978. So, without further ado, let's get into the story. I was in grade 2 and I had a lot of friends and stuff like that, as most kids in that time did. I hung out, we played, we did all that kind of stuff. We went to school together. It was uh, early spring of 78, and we were excited. The snow had left. Everything was just perfect. The weather was nice. It was above 0 in centigrade, which is above 32 Fahrenheit. Um, a little background on it. I went to an elementary school in the city of Calgary, and my grade 2 class was across the hallway from what was deemed the special class, where the kids who were intellectually disabled, as we would call them today, uh, would all congregate and go to class together. And there wasn't a single age for that class. It was all the different ages within the elementary school. My class was across the way, and because I had someone who is intellectually disabled, a cousin of mine that I loved very, very, very much and had grown up with, I was used to hanging out with those types of people. So I had a friend, and his name was Robert, and he was an amazing young guy. He was fun. He made you laugh. He was loyal as all get out, and he was always there to help you or to be there for you if you needed him. I had other friends that I hung out with also during the school day and at recess, but Robert and I hung out the most. One day after school, we were all walking home, and we would pass this little public park, and someone had ripped up a couple of boards, and the kids started making the boards into their own makeshift teeter-totter. And one kid would get on one end and the other kid would jump on it and try and fling them into the air. One moment I was looking at it going, ooh, I'd like to do that. And I waited for my turn and I finally got up to it. But I didn't get on before the kid that was waiting for me jumped on the board. So the board jumped up, hit me in the head across here, lifted the skin off of my forehead, and blood and screaming ensued. None of my screaming, lots of my blood, but not my screaming. The other kids freaked out, all ran off. I was there bleeding all over the place, dazed, confused, not knowing what was going on. All of a sudden, I felt this arm come around my chest, and I slowly get lifted off the ground. And I saw my bike being lifted off the ground and put on the shoulder. And I look up, and who is it? Robert. And Robert said to me, "Don't worry, I get you home. Don't worry, I get you home." And he literally dragged me home to see my mom, to get help. While all the other kids had run off terrified at the fact that first they hurt someone, second that there was a lot of blood, and third that they would all probably get into trouble, which none of them did. in retrospect, because truthfully, it was an accident. And it was my own stupidity for standing in front of a board that kids were jumping on to. My mom opened the door, looked out, and saw Robert carrying me and my bike up the stairs to the front door of our townhouse. She opens up the door, looks at him and goes, "What happened?" And he goes, "Greg got hit in the head with board. Greg got hit. Greg got hit." I'm like, "Oh, that's what happened." Because now I start remembering things because I'm starting to come together. And all I see is a curtain of red in front of my eyes from the blood. And my mom said, "Okay, bring him in." So Robert, this Down syndrome boy, brings me in, puts me on the couch, and he sits there and he goes, "I don't want to leave him." And my mom said, "Don't worry, he'll be okay. You can stay here. I've called your mom. She'll come pick you up. But I thank you very much for taking care of my son. That is very good of you." And he goes, "I like him. He's my friend. I will be there for him." And I remember hearing these words thinking, uh, where did everyone else go? I realized that friendship is not as sure as you think. The people that you would think are your ride and die friends and family, when things do happen, will most likely run away. And there'll be one, maybe two, who actually stick around and fight for you as you would fight for them. Because it didn't matter what happened to a friend of mine. If I was there to help, if I was able to help, I would have helped no matter what. Now, as I got older, I learned not to jump into certain things, as in if they were in a fight and I got into the middle of the fight and got hurt and then found out that they were the reason why the fight was happening because they started it, I started realizing that, yeah, those are the kinds of things that you just kind of step away from and go, "Hey, you pick this one, you finish it." But if it was something that they didn't do and they needed help, I was there for them 100%. So my mom got out an old sheet and some aloe vera, cut off a leaf, split it in half, put it onto my head, and wrapped my head with that sheet and said, "You'll be okay. Just lay on the couch and everything will be okay." I lay there and I talked to my friend Robert until his mom came over and picked him up. My mom thanked his mom and Robert for taking care of me. And the next day, I thanked Robert personally for helping me. I still had a bandage on my head, a larger one, and a different kind of one. But it made me realize who really was my friend and how to tell who is your friend. Now, a lot of people ask, well, how did you know that the other kids weren't your friends? I said, because they ran off. They didn't even stick around. They just ran away and left me there. If Robert hadn't have been there, who knows what had happened to me? Who knows how long I would have been laying there? How long I would have been bleeding? Any of that stuff. Those are the kinds of things that make me glad that I had a friend like Robert. And just because someone isn't what you would consider the perfect person doesn't mean that they can't be the perfect friend. Just means that they're different, and that's okay. I wanted to let you know a little bit more about my life. And truthfully, this is a story that I want my kids to hear. And they're at the age right now that they don't really care. But I know that one day they will. And if I'm not around, I want them to be able to hear this story and know who their true friends are and understand where they can find them. I hope you have a wonderful day. Alberta Prepper out.